Absolutely. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean that like our folks are woke because they understand what's going on in the system. They understand what's going on in the universe. I thought being woke was something that was good. I thought it was. It always appeared to be good to me. So whenever being woke has become a negative narrative for some folks, to me, it's positive. Because if you woke, that means you know what's going on. If you woke, you on top of your game. So for all of my folks, I think y'all woke because y'all pay attention to what's going to be the next thing in your voting ranks, who's going to be in office, who ain't going to be in office, who has the information. And I think that you got to be woke. Hmm. Hmm. So why not be woke? Why not? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this millage. Make sure that you have the information. Make sure that you know what it is. And to let you know, I'm telling you right now, whoever is telling you that this is a new tax is sabotaging the future of safe streets and strong communities. Whoever this person is that is saying to you, say no to the millage, they have no clue what they talking about and trying to sabotage it. You heard me? Let me say it again because I know my folks that were online here, they was like, you ain't had no sound. We got sound now. Everybody saying thanks for the sound. I just want to make sure that y'all understand that no matter what these folks are telling you about this millage being new taxes that's coming up on this vote on May the 2nd or 3rd, which one is it? 3rd? They lying to you. This is a renewal of a millage. Why? It's for operations costs. And hopefully at some point in time, we're going to start talking about those folks getting another raise. Because if I tell you about their last raise was under Susan, that they had in what, 14, 15 years, and that was only $2, which got them up to $14 an hour. I know. But I'm trying to tell you, no matter who the sheriff is, I know there's a sheriff race. If you don't vote for this millage, they going to have the same problem. And I'm surprised. I really am. I really am surprised that your city council has not cheerleaded this millage. I am very sorry that those men and women have not cheerleaded this millage, especially when they're always questioning how much money goes to the sheriff office and they want to cut the budget and they're supposed to be the fiduciary responsible persons to take care of the budget when we get all of this information coming in about what the city budget is going to be looking like. That money is part of the city budget too. I am totally disgusted with certain folks on this city council that are more worried about trying to win in a populist vote from people that have nothing to do with how we do contracting and try to get them to stand up and say, oh, instead of paying attention to the law, and also trying to cheerlead people to go to the polls and vote for this millage. Well, Gerard, you work with the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, so you're going to have a problem. No. Hold on. Let me make sure I make myself perfectly clear. Yes, I do. But I also understand the process and what this does. Because I don't think that it can be explained any better on the radio. And I'm going to suggest to you all, pick up the phone and call 504-582-9422 if you got questions about it. Who's ever telling you that this is a new tax is lying to you. And I don't think that everybody's in full understanding. As a matter of fact, I pulled up the information so that you would have it. I did. I pulled up the information so that you have it about this tax, this millage. It's not new. It's what you've been paying for. And let me tell you, this is for the next 10 years. If y'all don't vote for this, it's going to cause all types of problems in the future. And I just don't want to hear everybody bitching, groaning, and like, Lord, what did we do? Because what's going to happen is you're not going to have money for operations. And operations at the jail are getting ready to get way more complicated than what they were. Why? Because she's going to be, and I'm talking about the sheriff, is going to be responsible for that brand new mental health facility that they're building now that's going to go in effect either this year, the end of this year, or next year without no new money, without no money, at least $14 million missing out of your budget. So I'm real surprised that whoever's doing this is putting it out. Thank you, Will. May 3rd is the election. And the early voting is going down through April 26th. So I'm really surprised that who's ever putting this out. They didn't spend some money. Put some signs out in the neutral ground. I think they got some in the where they got them at. They got them out in Lakeview. I know they had some coming across the bridge. Where else they got these signs? They in red, but they illegal signs. What you said? I said they're illegal signs. Why are they illegal? Not because you're voting against them or voting for it or they're telling you what to vote for, but the signs themselves are supposed to say what they would stand for, but they're also supposed to let you know who they are. Paid for by what organization? Being brought to you by the committee to whoever. They don't have none of that on their signs. So they just printing up signs and putting them out there. Let me know that this is sabotage. Being a progressive sheriff, they got them at Esplanade and Elysian Fields too. Wow. And North Carrollton. Somebody should spend some money. But I'm letting y'all know that being a progressive sheriff is hell on some folks. They just want to lock folks up and throw away the key. But y'all ain't hearing nobody dead anymore in the sheriff's office, have you? Haven't heard that. And God, let me knock on some wood. Don't want that to happen. But y'all not hearing that anymore. Y'all know we used to hear all the time in the past, somebody dead in the sheriff's office, in jail. Somebody dead in there. Y'all not hearing that no more. Now, do they have incidents? Absolutely. Because somebody from downtown don't like somebody from uptown. Somebody in the lower ninth ward don't like somebody from, Elysian Fields or over there by Lakeview. Somebody don't like somebody from the Calio and the Lafitte. Y'all know we've had these beasts forever. They still got them. But the incidents in the jail, now y'all can call and find out. You can get an incident report if you want to. But the incidents in that jail are cut down 50%. Why? Because your sheriff has become innovative as a progressive sheriff and has now ordered these tablets for the, I mean, you think about something, you locked up and you're there all day long with nothing to do except wait for your turn to go to court. And you locked up. Guess what they got? You sitting there doing nothing but twiddling your thumbs. Now they're getting educated because the sheriff has invested into these tablets for them to be able to do progressive stuff on their tablets. So incidents are cut in half, 50% already. Oh, I got more. I just got started. I'll tell y'all while I'm involved. More coming up next. Everybody hold tight.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
NOLA Public Schools is excited for the rest of this 24-25 school year journey with our families, watching our students dive into learning, growth, and success. As the school year continues, our dedicated educators are focused on keeping every student engaged and motivated. Let's keep embracing new challenges, celebrating achievements, and supporting each other to make the rest of this year even more impactful. Stay connected with your school and NOLA PS through our social media channels for updates and resources. We're here to help our scholars attend today, achieve tomorrow.
A star-studded lineup will unite in support of music education at the 2025 Jazz Heritage Gala on Wednesday, April 23rd at Generations Hall. The gala will feature iconic performances by the Ohio Players, John Clary and the Absolute Monster Gentlemen, Niger Kojo, and the Lanyap Section, and more. To celebrate a grand start to Jazz Fest, reserve your tickets at jazzandheritage.org.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
This summer, let your child's creativity shine at Camp Art, New Orleans' most vibrant, arts-driven camp experience for kids ages 4 to 12. Hosted by Beyond the Stage, Camp Art blends visual art, theater, music, dance, and creative writing with New Orleans history and culture. Plus, field trips, guest artists, and camper showcases. With full-day programming before and after care and sessions starting June 9th, it's the perfect fit for working parents. Fun, enriching, unforgettable. Register now at beyondthestagellc.com/campart and follow us on social media at Beyond the Stage LLC.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. All right, welcome back. Man, I got to tell you, I was really thrown off by the number of folks that have been receiving false information. So the proposition, which is proposition number 1 for the law enforcement district millage renewal, it says, shall the sheriff of Orleans Parish, as the governing authority of the law enforcement district of the Orleans Parish, state of Louisiana, continue to levy a tax of not exceeding 2.46 mils on all property subject to taxation in the district, an estimated $13,918,088 $89 reasonably expected at this time to be collected from the levy of the tax for the entire year for a period of 10 years, beginning with the year 2026 and ending with the year 2035, for the purpose of providing additional funding for the operation, maintenance, and upkeep of jails and related facilities. The District of Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, with said millage levied each year to be reduced by the millage rate levied that year for the district's currently outstanding generational or general obligation bonds. So what does this do? And what does this money go to? When you pass by these buildings of the sheriff's department, I go there just about every day, not on every floor, not in the jail, an administrative building. There is a brand new facility that is being built. Some of you will see those cranes and stuff in the air, but there is a brand new facility that is being built, and that is going to be the mental health hospital. Well, where y'all think the money gonna come from? State ain't paying for it. Federal government ain't gonna pay for it. Now understand something. They got this thing under consent decree. Because several years ago, and this is what I told the sheriff that maybe she need to start telling people. But I know she's not, because she ain't that type of person. That before she got there, this thing was under consent decree. And being under consent decree is not the same consent decree that you see that the city or NOPD is under. Everybody hear me? So there is a consent decree for NOPD, and there is a consent decree for the Orleans Parish Jail. That consent decree was put in place several years back. So she has been trying to fix it, along with her team, for the past 3.5 years. I think 247 things were put in place that need to be corrected. 247 within 3 years. And this administration has corrected 240. I think they got 7 more to go to get them out the consent decree. Guess what? The consent decree has got to be paid for. Who's paying for it? The city of New Orleans. And then she has been trying to make sure that she can recruit better folks. Not saying that anybody in there is doing a bad job, but trying to make sure she can get the best of the best to become those law officers that can handle those folks in jail, get them to where they need to be. Because this ain't no just put them in jail, lock the door cell, and then let the courts go ahead on and determine where they're going to be. That's not. It is not. This is a woman that has to, and a system that has to, I keep saying Susan got to do it, but Susan has to put together, along with her team, okay, you got arrested. Who'd you get arrested by? You didn't get arrested more than likely by OPSO. Because the function of OPSO is to house you until your court date or until your bond is up. Afterwards, you have to go and do the dance. You got to stay there until they say, okay, we can let you go on R&R, your own recognizance, or you have to stay there until you go to court. And if you go to court, if you got a bond to go to court, if you get bonded out, understandably, that could be great. But you would not believe the number of poor people, I'm going to just call it what it is, poor people that have been placed in jail that can't get out of jail because they don't have any money to pay traffic tickets, a bond that's several $100s, and they end up in there until their court date. Now, there are some that should be locked up. I'm going to just be honest with you. There are some that need to be held. But your sheriff is trying to make sure that everybody's safe. Making sure there ain't going to be too many squabbles in there. There going to be some squabbles, but ain't too many squabbles in there. Ain't nobody getting shanked or killed. You're getting 3 meals a day. A place to lay your head. If you have some type of problem with your mental health, you can get some mental health help. Dr. Ron Bailey, the doctor that I brought in here to sit up here and talk from LSU. Y'all remember him? The black guy that was the head psychiatrist for LSU. Well, guess who is now the head psychiatrist for OPSO2? Dr. Ron Bailey. He's the one examining folks. All right. Then, of course, if you have some issues where you need some medicine and need to see a doctor, she got to take you there too. Transport you to court, she got to do that too. Get you back safely, got to do that too. Got a civil issue, and you need to put out a, what do you call those? TRO? She has to do that too. So I really suggest to a lot of people, before you just read that sign they got stuck in the ground in the middle of the neutral ground that says, vote no. No, don't. Don't listen to that. Have we done a adequate job of trying to make sure you see or hear the information? Probably not. But I'm going to do it today. Because early voting is going on now. And just to see the idiocy of those folks sticking those signs in the ground. Oh, no new taxes. This is not new taxes. I don't know what other way I can say this is not new taxes. Now, I could be that guy that could be in here vouching for it. It was going to come up anyway. No matter what I said, no matter what the sheriff said, no matter what who said, yay or nay, it was going to come up anyway. And I got to tell you, no matter who going to be sheriff, you're going to run into the same problem. That's why I'm a little bit perturbed that the city council, who is going to be responsible for that budget, has not said anything. You also damn worried about who got the trash contract. I can't get you to talk about, you talk about what? What that trash contract worth? $75 million over what, 10 years? That's $7 million a year, 7.5? But y'all can't talk about $13 million? That's almost double. So what do? Don't allow the sabotages to kill it. I know everybody's like, man, I'm paying too much. I'm already paying too much. You've been paying this. This ain't nothing new. This is not new. And of course, what we do have is an organization like BGR, who has put together their report. And I want to make sure that I put this out correctly, because in one of the highlights of the report, it says the city provides the majority of funding for the Orleans Parish Jail. This amount to $71.8 million, 79% in 2025, making the jail the city's third largest budget item behind the police and fire departments. The sheriff's tax provides the second largest funding source for the jail, about 13%, with the rest of the budget coming from federal and state grants and other revenues. The Orleans Parish Jail faces many challenges, including staffing shortages, rising jail population, and major capital and maintenance needs, as shown in the table. The sheriff's office has a 28% vacancy rate among its jail staff, which exceeds the 20% vacancy rate for minimum coverage based on its staffing plans. It is more than 200 employees short of optimum coverage for safe and secure facilities. All right, let's stop right there. It's more than 200 employees short of optimum coverage for safe and secure facilities. These and other factors have hindered fulfilling the requirements of the jail's long-running consent decree, a legal settlement with the federal government to meet basic constitutional jail conditions and treatment of the detainees. The sheriff told BGR that the tax would provide a stable funding source to address these concerns. What would be the concerns? Because I can tell you. And let me make sure that I understand something. You understand something. I am not the spokesperson on this millage. I am not. But I hear it every day. There is a big push, and has been a big push, to do recruitment for folks, men and women, that can work in that jail, that can provide some type of security for the men and women that are getting ready to go in that jail. There's been a big recruitment push. That's number one. Number two, as far as the requirements of the long-running consent decree, I think that if we want to start talking about a stable funding source, just saying that you got a millage is not a stable funding source. It's only 13% of what the budget is. Yes, it takes a lot to run that jail. Have you all realized that that jail was set up to house comfortably maybe 900 folks? Maybe 900 folks. Maybe. If I'm not mistaken, that is the number. Well, what's it housing, G? Again, and I just checked with Ahmad. Y'all don't know Ahmad, but I just checked with Ahmad the day before yesterday. Like, what's the number? And Ahmad was telling me it was somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,400 to 1,500. So if you got 1,400 to 1,500 folks that's in jail, and it's been set up to bring down the number of people that are in jail to house maybe 900, I mean, you overcrowded. Well, how did they get overcrowded? I'll never forget this as long as I lived. When dumbass, I'm sorry, let me stop, was sitting there at the city council desk, Mr. Red Bottoms, him and another one's like, man, we ain't supposed to have 800-900 people, but 800 or 900 people at a maximum in there. how come you got so many people in jail? I said, Lord, thank you. Thank you, Lord. Everybody was looking at me like, why you said thank you, Lord? I said, because I didn't go. I didn't go to the meeting. I didn't go to the budget. And I started to. And you telling everybody that you a lawyer. How you going to be a lawyer and not understand that the main objective, the main goal, the main assignment to this sheriff was set forth by many of you many years ago in the realm of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, saying that your job is to run the jail, right? Your job is not to get out there and bring everybody to the table and say, you arrested, you going to jail, you going to jail. Your job is to run the jail, which she does. So if that's the case, I need to know, Mr. Red Bottoms, did you ask Troop NOLA how many people they put in jail? Did you ask the U.S. Marshals? Did you ask NOPD? Did you ask ICE how many people they put in jail? Did you ask anybody that question other than the sheriff on how many folks she's putting in jail? She ain't putting them in jail. All the law enforcement agencies are. Her job is to house them and to make sure they're comfortable until their court date come up. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. All right, more coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight. We got to take a break here. We'll take the break. We got your telephone calls at 504-582-9422. We'll read them in just a minute. Everybody get them in.
Hey, WBOK, Ryan Richardson here, host of a new show called Conversations with Ryan Richardson. Join me every Saturday live from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. as we sit down and discuss mental health, disability, drug addiction, and everyday life issues. If you're ready to have a real conversation, let's get it started, New Orleans, every Saturday from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here on WBOK and streaming worldwide on WBOK1230.com.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe. 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. My number, 504-582-9422. Please call and let's get some of these issues on the table here that you may have that I can, if I don't have the answer, I can definitely pick up the phone and call and ask our folks to do the show. Come on. Because as I look at this, I'm like, well, what happens if we don't get this thing renewed? And then if you go on the Safe and Stronger Communities, it's called safeandstrongrenewal.com. Safeandstrongrenewal.com. It gives you what happens if the renewal doesn't happen. Withholding funding. OPSO won't be able to meet needed staffing levels and potentially leading a staffing reduction. Also says if the millage is not renewed, the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office will face severe funding shortage, threatening safety, security, and basic operations. I didn't know, but when they built that new building over there, that some things were not put in place at that building to be safe. So a lot of things had to be retrofitted at that building. And this is going to sound terrible, but y'all, these were some of the things that were going on. I don't know how much they're going on now because she's trying to get them replaced. But y'all remember how many years ago? At least 6-7 years ago, you had those videos that were on YouTube where the inmates were getting out at night and going down and making YouTube videos on YouTube. Y'all remember this? Anybody remember that? They were getting out. This is before the new building. They were getting out the jail and going down to Bourbon Street and videoing them having a ball. They were just hanging out. Hey, like nothing going on. All right, let me throw this out here. When the new building was built, I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that there were some folks that just okayed the building. Now, I'm not saying that this was the former sheriff or who. I don't know. But I think that there were some things that were okayed in that building that should not have been okayed, meaning that whoever the contractor was, after it was okayed, they moved on, got their money and left. But I do know that this sheriff, Susan Hudson, has had to go through the building and remove, in the areas of the windows, they had steel that they would pull out. I don't know how they did it, but they would pull the steel out from between the cement and the window and make it into a shank so that they could stab somebody and would make it into a shank. Since that time, she has come back and said, okay, we're going to have to remove this steel or whatever that is, that framework from those windows and make some type of mold where they could put either cement or some type of epoxy or something of that sort that could hold that area without having to put those steel rods in, because they were pulling them out, making them into shanks. That's number one. Number two. There was and this made the television. I got to think about how long ago it was. There are floors on those pods. What do you mean, G? You got floor number 1. And go up the steps, you got floor number 2. So you have cells at the bottom. And if you go up the steps, you got cells, holding cells at the top. So you got a floor above and a floor underneath. Some of them folks that were locked up that were on the second floor just didn't care no more. So guess what they were doing? And this was not thought out, that somebody that just wanted to kill themselves or had some type of death wish, they would go up those steps, go up the second floor. And I ain't talking about this is like this ain't no 2 or 3 steps up. I'm talking about this is a flight of steps. Get up on that second floor and do a head dive off that balcony onto the cement floor below to try to kill themselves. Because there was nothing there on the second floor that would stop somebody from jumping over those rails. She had to do that too. All right. Let me give you some more. How about if I told you this? That there were no radios with the deputies. So let's say that they on the floor and by some chance something jumped off and they got to try to break it up. Them guys didn't worry about no deputy. Guess what they were doing? They were beating them. And the deputies couldn't call for reinforcements. They ain't had no new radios. She had to buy them radios. And guess what else? Cameras. Body cameras. So if something happened, you need to be able to see what happened. Make sure there ain't no use of force from the guards and make sure there ain't no type of coup from the prisoners. And she don't like me to call them prisoners. She had to buy them body cameras because they didn't have them. I was like, what? Yep. All right. Let's talk about training. Throw this in here. Oh, baby, I got a whole bunch. It's going to be a great show to tell you exactly where this money going. So if something happened in that jail because of training, she probably had to call somebody from the Department of Corrections out of Baton Rouge or out of one of those other jails, and they would come down with their team and get it straight. Susan got tired of that. Susan sent her guys to go get training and how to handle those incidents. So your sheriff's department now has a strategic response team. So let there be an incident. Them guys ain't playing. They coming in there good. Don't let me fool you too when I say guys. I'm talking about that team, and they got women on that team too. Some of the women worse than the dudes. I'm just saying. I say that with love. Then here go the other part. She made those deputies that wanted to do it to take training to be able to handle a taser. No, this ain't no, oh yeah, I can point that thing and, pull the trigger and tase somebody. It ain't like that. To be able to be certified, taser ready, you as the deputy, you have to get tased, not anybody else. So for you to be able to tase somebody and get certified to carry a taser, part of the training, you have to get tased by the instructor. And they did it. My boy Blacher, I saw him on television. I was like, oh no. We were talking about that Saturday. I was talking with Blacher. Blacher was like, man, there ain't nothing like you want to ever feel. But he's taser certified now, and he's carrying a taser. Those didn't come free. They didn't come free. Now, the biggest stuff, too, to me, is talking about what deputies are making in their salaries and how they can get better equipped. I think it's got to be your salary that makes you want to do this job. How much money are you going to be able to make? When can you retire? How much retirement money are you going to get? How much will go to your pension? How much can you put in the bank? And you got your own credit union in the offices of the OPSO on the second floor. Y'all, this is a big city. This is a big city. Listen to Gina telling everybody they don't feel good. This office, this building, or these buildings are a big city. And I got more in the 5 o'clock hour. I ain't stopped. I ain't finished. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight. We will, you had to stretch out? Okay. All right. I'm going to try to get the sheriff. I know that she has meeting after meeting after meeting on today, but I'm trying to get her in between those meetings to be able to talk, because these signs are really bothering me. I'm like, man, do these folks really understand what this is all about? Because I really don't think they do. I really don't. I really don't think they do. And what do you do to make them feel that way? They doing better. Well, we'll reach out for some folks and see just a bit. Everybody hold tight. Coming up, news, and we'll come back with some of your telephone calls. 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Mike Island with 4 things you should know on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. The White House is denying a report that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is on his way out. The White House says he's doing a tremendous job and President Trump stands behind him. Russia is reportedly offering not to go any further into Ukraine. The Financial Times cited sources familiar with the matter that Russian President Vladimir Putin is willing to stop the invasion at the current front line. The president's tariffs are the reason the International Monetary Fund is lowering its U.S. economic growth forecast. The IMF's growth projections are now at 1.8%, down nearly 1% from its January forecast. The IMF didn't say the U.S. is headed for a recession, but it also didn't rule it out. Public viewing of Pope Francis begins tomorrow. His body is lying in state in a private chapel at the Vatican and will be moved to St. Peter's Basilica. I'm Mike Island on your home for Black News First, the Black Information Network.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. You know, when we start talking about money, or we start talking about people and what they're going to vote for, or what they're not going to vote for, or what you heard, or what you see, folks get quiet, don't they? They get quiet. Shh, be quiet. Don't let Gerard know. So what does this millage matter, and why does it matter? It says millage is the most stable and flexible funding stream OPSO receives. Unlike city funding or grants, millage revenue is guaranteed, voter approved, and renewable. It funds staffing and training moderated by federal consent decree, foundational to the operations and upkeep of the constitutional complaint jail facility. The reentry and education programs that are happening in there. I got to tell you, I didn't know until I started working over there. about the reentry programs, and it's more than one. It's not just we're gonna teach you how to cook. And let me get into this now because I don't want nobody to say that, oh my God, he's such a hater. I am not hating on anybody that wants to do culinary types of work. I'm not. But I do think that you have so many other skills. And when that's the only thing that's being offered, you're going to do it just because that's the only thing that's offered. But what if? What if? Just think for a moment. What if somebody said, hey, you get ready to get out. You need a job, so you need to be able to have some skills and do some things. How about if somebody said, I want to learn how to become a barber or do hair? And they looked at you and said, okay. They got a barber program in there teaching these young men how to cut hair. What if there's some type of fireman job, something of that sort that you want to learn how to do, and we had the ability to get you in the program? How about you wanted to learn how to better your reading skills, be able to say, I got my diploma or my GED? That's in there. Let's say that this state, which it is true, has said to us, we now can lock up them 17-year-olds that didn't go to school when you were supposed to be in school and got caught up in some mess. Now you're not going to graduate. But how about if the federal consent decree says if you got a child that did not graduate and they're 17 years old, you got to be able to allow them to graduate. And OPSO said, we got you because we got some literacy programs that you can take right here and get your GED or get your diploma and graduate while you are still in the facility. What? Yep. She doing that. All these things cost money. Trauma response, reparations, the advocacy as well. Yes, there is a little something that comes out of if you've been locked up, and when you get ready to get out, they're not just sending you out there with your slippers on and say, see ya, and shut the door. They doing a whole bunch of other stuff and making sure you got a little something for reparations. One of the things I know they're going to get back to in there is having the clergy coming in and doing some Sunday programming, maybe even some Bible study, as well as our Muslim brothers and sisters doing some Quran, leading you into the path of learning the Quran. You got school programming, you got senior assistants, because it hurts your heart to see that they got whole families that are locked up. What? Yeah. The whole family. The mama, the daddy, a couple of the uncles, you. Y'all know one of my biggest adjustments? Learning how to stop calling people inmates. Because they don't call them inmates over there. They call them residents. And if you know somebody in there, you don't want to call them no inmate. You really don't. You don't call them no inmate. Especially if it's one of your friends. So come on. Let's talk about this mental health crisis that we are in too. Y'all think about something. And I think it's ass backwards. I really do. I think it's ass backwards. Well, what is, Gerard? What's backwards? That for me to get mental health help, I have to go to jail. Y'all think about that for a minute. In the city of New Orleans, they do have mental health programs. The mental health programs, I have to have done something. Because I'm in the jail. And then you have all this coming up. What do? You make sure that people understand that this millage is more so an independent way. I think this would be a pretty good explanation. An independent way for the sheriff's department to be able to provide monies to keep its facilities open, to do the programming that is needed, to be able to hire the men and women that are needed, to be able to fix some of them old trucks and cars, or get some other ones, and be able to give those men and women needlessly let this not be the last heard, give them a decent wage. Give them a decent wage. As long as I have been here, we have seen that the pay, budgeting of the Orleans Parish Sheriff Office has always been wrong. But it ain't just the OPSO. Y'all remember? Hell, I remember when Mr. Morrell, who was the clerk of court, he would be that person, be like, I ain't playing with y'all. I'm going to sue every last one of y'all to get his budget, and we get it. Might not get everything that he wanted, but he wouldn't take what they offered him. But why does a city like New Orleans that has a whole city council, not stand up and say, let's make the budgeting easier this year? Y'all make sure you support OPSO. Now, it's the same persons that as a state agency, this is the agency that protects you during Mardi Gras. Hello, somebody? Hello? Can you hear me? Are these words that are coming out of my mouth? Do you hear me? What do you mean, Gerard? Because they put it on the state agency, which is OPSO, to go through the state to get those other municipalities, those other men and women from other parishes. Notice how I said that, other parishes, to say they're going to come down here for Mardi Gras and help protect those parades. Have y'all noticed that? Did we have any incidents at the parades this year? Other than what we saw on January 1st. They had the parades. Y'all remember how many years ago was this? 3 years ago? 4 years ago? What were we seeing? Somebody got shot. At least 2 people had got rolled up on by those tandem floats. And then we started hearing, we don't have enough police officers out here. We don't have enough. And we started hearing it horn. Because we needed more police officers. Okay. How about having our own? Who had to go get them? Your sheriff. They didn't even tell her thank you. Now think about that for a minute. This woman has been thankless. Oh, I'm going to really go in now. Okay, so. Y'all know January 1st. And I'm going to say this to all of my OPSO family, as well as I'm going to say this to my NOPD family. I have folks in NOPD as well that I really strictly do care about a whole lot because they become friends for a long period of time. They've been, God knows I've known probably just as many NOPD folks that are my friends as well as OPSO, probably even longer. But it really got under my skin to be able to see that a lot of these deputies that work and do patrolling as well, or at least walking down on Bourbon Street or down on Bourbon Street, OPSO has deputies on Bourbon Street. Not just during Mardi Gras. Every day of the week, they got details. They out there. A couple of detectives were out there, plain clothes, that have done the training. They are doing their job. They arrest people too. But they're trying to make sure that you're safe. And when all of that stuff broke out, if y'all go back and take a look at the body cam footage, when that terrorist hit that crane right behind his truck is an OPSO deputy vehicle. Do y'all know, and I mean this, I'm going to swear I'm a child here. Do y'all know that they did not thank? Now, they thanked everybody from NOPD, which they deserved it. They thanked all the troopers. They deserved it. They thanked EMT and firemen. I was like, was firemen out there? But they thanked all of them, but they did not thank OPSO. And they didn't thank the coroner. Because after all that happened, it was the coroner who had to clean up the place and take all the photos and identify the bodies. But it was OPSO. I'll never forget. The next morning, I got my telephone call from the folks at the office telling me, get up and call the sheriff and wake her up. And I was like, what's going on? They were like, man, we done had an incident out here on Bourbon Street, and it looked like a terrorist attack. I was like, you kidding me? And so I immediately got on the phone and started calling folks. I started calling her deputies. I started calling the sheriff. I started trying to organize and getting everybody together. You know, I didn't do it all by myself. I can tell you there was an asserted effort. And so I do not want this to sound like I did all this, because I didn't. And I'll be the first one to tell you I did not. But I'm telling you that Inga Barre, Chanel Cooks, Chief Goodley, all of them were like, where we going? Where we meeting up at? What time we going to go to the office? Everybody was getting together. The executive protection team called me like, man, we coming by your place to pick you up. Are you dressed? I'm like, I'd be dressed in like 20 minutes. Give me 20 minutes. I got up, got dressed, put my clothes on. They were outside in the parking lot. We went up to the I think it's the 17th floor of the police station, then the new police station. And I was standing there watching as this press conference was going on, thinking to myself, oh my God, these men and women are putting their lives on the line, listening to these clowns in this press conference. How shameful do we be? And I meant that because that was some of the most shameful crap that I had seen by politicians. Not by the men and women that were putting their lives on the line, the police officers, but by the politicians. That was some of the biggest S show that I had ever seen, and I call it an S show because you know what I want to call it, that I had ever seen. But to walk out of there, get on that elevator, go downstairs and walk out of that door, getting ready to get in one of the vehicles and go back to the office, to see Detective Morgan out there shaking. His hands were shaking because he was one of those that after this happened, he was on Bourbon Street trying to render aid. With blood still all over him. And I was saying to myself, that's going to affect him for the remainder of his life. I hope that he gets some professional help. All right, y'all. More coming up. Don't forget at 6 today we have Arnie and Carrie coming up at 6 o'clock. So make sure you check them out, all right? More coming up next.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Alt Finance wants more black talent on Wall Street. It's a $90 million 10-year effort to help get more people of color in fields like private equity by creating a direct pipeline from HBCUs to some of the biggest firms on Wall Street. And Alt Finance CEO Marcus Shaw tells Bloomberg that these firms stand to gain a lot from bringing in top talent from HBCUs and other underrepresented groups.
There's real value because we believe that there is power in diversity of networks, diversity of thought, diversity of experience. These students ultimately in the workplace will have some of the most diverse experiences of any person in this country. And that's valuable to companies and corporations that are looking for people that are bringing new ideas, new experiences to the table so that they can develop and innovate, so that they can invest, so that they can lead.
More ideas and more innovation also means more money for big companies. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Sunday mornings are reserved for a good word on WBOK. This Sunday, be sure to catch Dr. Kevin Stevens Sr., the pastor of Christian Unity Church, for service and a powerful, full, inspiring word. Listen live every Sunday morning right here on WBOK.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Hoping that you are having a good day. It did rain earlier today, didn't it? I was like, well, watch out for the rain, but it's gone. It did rain earlier today. Hopefully, we are looking at possibly some rain later on this evening, but they're not saying it's going to be big or long. So, but they've been wrong before. So I just sit back and watch. Today's conversation about this millage. Do we need it? Yep. Does it work? Yep. Why are some folks against it? I think for a couple of reasons. One being that it is being told to you that it is a new tax. And it is not. Let me quash that right now. Anybody that tells you that it is a new tax, they lying. It's a renewal, but it's not new. You're already paying for it. So let's say that the funding is not renewed. What do? Where are we gonna come up with the money? Oh, and let's be sharp about this too. That new jail, the mental health wing. Y'all know y'all got to pay for that too. Everybody like, what? Yeah. That's going to be over 100 million, I think. They didn't come up with a financing piece of this, but your sheriff, Susan Hudson, disagreed with the powers that be, including the federal judge, and said that they were going to sue. And they should not put the cost of that jail mental health wing on the people of New Orleans. The federal judge said, screw you, boo, and threw it out. And so she lost. Nobody, none of you, came running to the rescue to tell the federal judge or anybody else that they need to come up with a new funding source. So guess what happened? The federal judge, without, did I say without? Without your approval, okayed this contract for this new facility to be built without any architectural inclusion from the people, no community input from the people, nothing from the sheriff at all, and she the one that got to run it, or he got to run it, whoever's got to run it in the next, because it's going to be ready within the next year. And with that being said, you got cranes in the sky. But nobody put a sign out in the middle of the neutral ground and said, no, we don't want it. Nobody was running for office said, because you didn't want to pay for it. Nobody was talking about this up against the water cooler at work. Nobody from your city council was talking heefy-jeefus. Yeah, I said heefy-jeefus. About this at all. They didn't protect you from it. We won't talk about I need my money. I need my money. No, sir, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, Pam. They put that one on you and said they'll pay for it. I don't know if y'all know. That's going to be about $80 to $100 million, if not more, because construction costs gone up. That was back in the day. I don't know what it's going up to. But that thing is what, 20, 30% already built? And then she disagreed with the architectural plan of how this is being put together. Nobody in the community said, hey, I'm with her. Nobody said, wait, Judge. Wait. Who approved those architectural plans? The judge did. They don't live here. They don't know what they're dealing with. The sheriff didn't approve those architectural plans. She didn't approve the architectural plans. She didn't approve for it to be put together. She didn't approve that the walls were going to go up. She didn't approve none of that stuff. And they said, screw you, boo. Did we say, screw you? Throughout her suit, because she sued. And said, you got what you got. Yes, we need some mental health help, but I ain't gonna have to fight nobody to get a mental health hospital, and why I got to do something wrong to get mental health help. Why I got to kill somebody. Why I got to be locked up. That's what they think about you. Because if this was the other folks, oh, baby, they would be in nice hospitals, walking around, having a good time. But they think that you, because we're the majority up in there, you have got to go to jail before you get mental health help. And guess what? You going to jail before you get evaluated. And then they had the audacity to have my buddy up in there, Ron Bailey, Dr. Ron Bailey, to be able to assess you before you get some type of treatment. I was like, man, I gotta go back to work, G. I'll see you later. When we go to lunch. Like, what you got? I gotta evaluate this lady or this guy, da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, dang. We got to get evaluated in jail. Well, that happens all the time, G. To us. You are correct, Mundo. That happens to us all the time. You don't even have to leave. You can just lay right down. Well, isn't that convenient? Ain't we tired of being, let me see. Let me ask you a question. What good is going to come out of this? If I had to break down and ask, what's the good that comes out of this? This is probably what I'll be able to ask the sheriff. What good comes out of this? And she'll tell me they're getting some mental health help. Okay. But why do I have to do something egregious to get mental health help? Can somebody help me before I do something wrong? 55% of the people in jail right now in Orleans Parish Jail need mental health help. At least 55% of the folks in jail right now need mental health help. We keep hearing over and over and over and over and over again with the sheriff, with the president, that we're in a constitutional crisis and we in this type of crisis. I'm trying to figure out, are we getting ready to be in a mental health crisis? Are we getting ready to be standing outside waiting for somebody to be able to see me because I did something wrong and I need some mental health help? I need you to be honest with me for a minute. Whether you call me and tell me that you do, or you call me and tell me nothing, or you just don't call me at all. How many of you, for real, know somebody that's in jail? Be honest. How many of you are prepared to say to any and everybody, uh-oh, he asked the wrong question? And the wrong question being what? That you have put somebody in jail, or you know somebody in jail, and you're not trying to let everybody know that you know them? Trust me, we know. And if it doesn't get taken care of, that's on you. Well, what you need to be taken care of, the part that's supposed to get taken care of, and that is when they're in there and they're getting mental health help, what's helping them to get out and not return? That's what I'm talking about. How do we stop them from returning? Recidivism is terrible. The recidivism rate over there is what, 7 to 8 times? Meaning, you more than likely are going to be seen again at OPSO. You more than likely will be seen again because you need mental health help, and nobody's out there helping you. So you're more than likely going to end up on the wrong side of the law again. This time, it could end up being strategically wrong, because if you do it to the wrong person, you're going to get caught up in gunfire, or somebody going to try to kill you. I've seen a lot of people almost getting killed for a whole lot less over there. Y'all think about that. Just for a minute. You know somebody. When last time you checked up on them? Oh, they just get on my nerves. Gee, I ain't checking up on them. I'm not doing that. I'm not. Okay. I'm not trying to twist your arm to make you have to take care of somebody. I'm telling you that is a part of the protections that are being offered with this millage an OPSO. Think about it. Keep it close to your vest before you go up in that voting booth and telling everybody, oh, no, we're not going to do no new taxes, no new taxes. Not new tax. Not a new tax. All right. I appreciate y'all letting me rant for the last, hour and a half about this issue. But let me do this, too, because I want y'all to know that, no, he ain't the heathen that you think he is, because yesterday I did not say too much about the burial of Pope Francis. But Pope Francis is going to be laid to rest on Saturday and lying in state for 3 days in St. Peter's Basilica, where the faithful are expected to flock to pay their respects to history's first Latin American pontiff. The cardinals met today in the Vatican's hall to chart the next steps before conclave begins and to choose Francis's successor. As condolences have poured in from around the world, the conclave must begin between May 5th and May 10th. The Cardinals set the funeral for Saturday at 10 a.m. in St. Peter's Square. It's going to be celebrated by the Dean of the College of Cardinals, Cardinal Giovanni Battista. The President Donald Trump said that he and his First Lady, Melania, they are planning to attend. And Argentine President Javier Milei is also expected. Now, my question is, and maybe I'm being messy, maybe I'm being messy, but can Donald Trump travel? I thought that he was a 34-time felon that can't get into these countries because he got to have a passport, even as the president of the United States. Can he go to the Basilica? Can he travel there? Ain't nobody saying nothing. I guess he can. They set the funeral for Saturday at 10 a.m. in St. Peter's Square to be celebrated by the Dean of the College of Cardinals, Cardinal Giovanni Battista, and, of course, the president and his wife supposed to attend. And Argentine President Javier Milei is also expected. The Argentine Pope died Monday at the age of 88 after stroke put him in a coma and led to his heart failing. He had been recovering in an apartment after being hospitalized for 5 weeks with pneumonia. He made his last public appearance on Sunday, delivering an Easter blessing and greetings following from his Pope-mobile looping around St. Peter's Square. His Easter appearance from the same loggia where he was introduced to the world as the first pope from the Americas on March the 13th, 2013, was a fitting bookend to a 12-year papacy that sought to shake up the church and return it to its gospel-mandated mission of caring the poorest, or caring for the poorest, that is. He truly gave everything he had up to the end, said Sister Nathaniel Bacquet, one of the highest-ranking women at the Vatican. While the ordinary faithful will have an opportunity to pay their respects beginning Wednesday, Vatican officials are allowed to say their goodbyes and start on yesterday evening, and speakers to reporters after she paid her respects. She marveled at Francis' final Easter salute to his flock. He really walked with his people, she said. All right. What you say, Miss Pamela?
Hello, Gerard. How are you?
Good, dear. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Yes, he can travel. Even though he's 34 counts of a felon, he can travel just because he's Donald Trump and the President of the United States. And he has a passport. He can move around as much as he wants to. Yes, he can.
But ain't that something?
I believe it is. It's too much. You know what?
But I thought they said now that he's not going to be able to go to certain countries because of the fact that he's a felon.
Watch this section. Watch this spirit. Watch this right here. Hey, no. This dude got control. He's got control not over only the United States. He has control overseas. Come on now. Let's be real with it.
Well, I mean, it's not like a telephone call overseas, but what I'm saying is I didn't think that he could go to these different places and be there in person because they do not allow felons to enter.
Watch this. Watch this. I'm just saying, what hasn't he done that he shouldn't be able to do? Come on now, bro. Let's be for real about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He can get away with murder. He told us that when he first got inaugurated.
Mm-hmm. But that's in New York City.
I know where it's at, but look what he's doing. And look who he has in his cabinet. Come on now. You already know, Gerard.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't crazy. We ain't crazy by a long shot. That's like, kissing my face and tell me it's raining outside. He can do what he wants to do. And guess what?
Not in the face. I don't think
Air
that's
Force
like
One, he'll take his Trump plane.
Yes, indeed.
No way in hell could any other president been able to do the things he's done, especially Barack Obama.
Yeah. Well, I
So
don't
saying.
think Biden either.
No. They would have been twisting their heads and looking like the Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure that out. Come on, bro. Let's just talk what's real. And what's real is that this is what's going on. But guess what? God has the plan in this.
Yeah.
And I believe in God.
I wonder will anybody bring that up. I'm going to see will anybody bring it up. See.
All right, check it out.
Oh, my dear. I appreciate you.
All right, Gerard.
Talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Ms. Matthews, hold on. I'm coming back. I'm coming right back as we get ready to wrap up the show. Hold on.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris.
I've spoken to the president, and we are going to continue fighting on the same page all the way.
That was Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth facing a barrage of questions over reports he shared sensitive military plans in a Signal group chat, including with his wife and brother. The information came directly from a top general's secure messages detailing U.S. strikes in Yemen. Hegseth isn't backing down. He says the chats were informal, unclassified, and part of a routine media coordination. But here's what's not routine. The intel was sent just minutes before jets launched, a move some say could have jeopardized lives if leaked. President Trump is defending his defense secretary, calling him great and brushing off speculation that a replacement is in the works, though some in the administration reportedly see this as a serious misstep. The Justice Department is now investigating the leak, with Hegseth promising those responsible will be prosecuted. But with national security at stake, critics are asking how secure is the chain of command when Signal is a part of it. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's Off the Top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
As the French Quarter Festival was coming to a close, a 36-year-old man brazenly opened fire in front of New Orleans police officers, wounding 5 people. It is a horrifying reminder of how quickly joy and celebration can turn into chaos and fear. Now, what makes this incident even more disturbing is what it reveals about the law, or the lack of it. Earlier this year, you'll recall, the Louisiana State Legislature passed a law allowing permitless concealed carry. Now, that means anyone over 18 can legally carry a hidden firearm in public. No permit, no background check, no training required. Let that sink in. No authorization, no checking to see whether someone shouldn't have a gun, no training to make sure someone knows how to use a gun. just a gun in their pocket, waistband, jacket, or on their ankle. Police are expected to manage crowded events, busy city streets, and tense situations without being able to question who's carrying a weapon until it's already too late. Their hands are tied, and we are left vulnerable. Any irresponsible ass with a gun is free to put your life and my life at risk. Now, this isn't about gun rights. It's about basic responsibility. Requiring permits and training isn't an infringement. Duh. It's just common sense. It protects the public, and it protects the officers who put their lives on the line every day. Now, if a man can open fire right in front of law enforcement during a festival, maybe it's time the state legislature admits this law needs a second look. This can't be about politics. This must be about public safety. It's time to give police a chance to protect us before lives are lost. This is Norman Robinson, Off the Top.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets, we've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow us at WBOK 1230 now.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
New Orleans, if you know a young adult or you are a young adult, listen up. This is your chance to level up your future.
Job One's Young Adult Career Expo is going down April 16th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 1307 Oritha Castle Haley Boulevard.
Put on your best outfit, grab your resume, and meet employers from across the city.
Some of them might even hire you on the spot. This is your moment. Get ready with Job One.
Tell a teen, tell a cousin, tell everybody 16 and up. Register now at job1nola.org.
Paid for by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act.
Get in on the conversation at 504-582-9422. The Reality Check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. 10 minutes away from the top of the hour, and of course, Carrie and Arnie will join you at the top of the hour. So make sure that you check them out. All right, Ms. Matthews, thank you so much for holding. How you doing?
All right. How you doing, Gerard? I was just calling in to say, yes, I know somebody who's at the jail now. I know people in the past who have been prisoners there. And I just wanted to say that I am going to support renewal of the millage because it's being operated 100% better than it was before. Because, you know, having lived here all my life, that place was like a jungle down there. You had killings, you had fights, you had people committing suicide. And lately, you know, the sheriff has come in and been more progressive. She's taken a much more progressive report, and you don't hear all the chaos that you used to hear about down there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I just wanted to say, yes, I would be supporting the millage.
And
I said, the only thing in New Orleans, you know, with people here, they don't look at what's best for the city. A lot of it be politics, like you said, whoever putting those signs up. A lot of time, if it's somebody who you done ran against or something, they keep, you know, they it's sour grapes and they keep mess going, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, you know, it's up to us to try to spread the word. And I know I'm gonna tell my family members and friends to vote and favor of renewing the millage because the jail is being operated much more efficiently than it was previously.
What do you think, though, Ms. Matthews? Where is this coming from? Have you heard anything? Has anybody said anything to you where it's coming from?
I think political enemies. You know, politics is dirty in this city, Gerard.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because, you know, we see that on the city council. Instead of them thinking about what's best for the city and what will help move the city forward, you know, people be involved in petty politicking, you know, and they just won't let mess go, you know?
Mm-hmm. I was surprised that you would think, now this maybe I'm thinking outside of the box, but here we go.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that you got, 7 grown men and women that have to look at every year prior to this thing being okayed, a budget for a city that has $1 billion budget. And you would think that they would be thinking that if I have a facility that has the number 2 position as far as the amount of money that it takes to run it, that they would be looking at that more so and trying to help get this money right instead of saying where we're going to come up with the money from.
Yeah,
you would think that they would do that, but I'm like, dude, this ain't nothing new.
Yeah.
And thank
Gerard,
God
I forgot to say, can I say one thing?
Yeah, please.
I forgot to say on behalf of the deputies, because I didn't know they had never been thanked. So on behalf of the general public, I just would like to thank each and every deputy that was involved in that because, yeah, they should have gotten recognized like everybody else, you know, because their job is not an easy job, you know.
It was a hard thing to be able to see the detective that was out there on Bourbon Street after that January 1st issue. And then we sit around and all of us sitting around looking at the Super Bowl. And honestly, we looking at the Super Bowl saying, where are our deputies? They were out there.
Right.
They didn't receive any congratulations.
Yeah, that's a shame.
They didn't even include them. And some of the folks, and I'm not going to talk about anybody in particular because I get upset when I do. Some of the folks some of the agencies that were included out there on the field holding up the signs and stuff, they weren't out there.
That's a shame.
They weren't even on Bourbon Street.
But I'm not shocked that they're.
But when the sheriff walked out of the police station after that press conference, and she was sitting up there talking to, I think, Detective Morgan, and listening to him and seeing his hand shake.
Right.
That's the part
I remember
that got me. I'm like, they didn't even thank that man.
Yeah, I remember that. And then look at the excellent job that they did with assisting the police at Mardi Gras. It's almost like they have taken over what the police used to do at Mardi Gras. So, yes, they're doing a hell of a job.
Yeah. Ms. Matthews, thank you so much. They need that
All
money.
right. I'll see you later, Gerard.
I appreciate you, too. Thank you for calling.
All right.
We're going to do our best to make sure that we get the sheriff to talk to us. I was a little late trying to get to it, but I was just reading a whole bunch of stuff that, these folks are uninformed that need to be informed. We'll get more to it. And make sure you listen at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We know that a couple of the pastors that I think are ill-informed will be on tomorrow, too, with our good friends that are going to have this conversation. Will, make sure you get into it. Dig into it, buddy. We'll see if we can get the sheriff to be a part, too. All right, that's going to wrap things up for me. We've got Arnie and Carrie coming up next. I will see you tomorrow. Whatever you do, safely, carefully is the way we want you to do it. Y'all take care.